I don't know how long the delay is.
Test.
I still don't hear anything yet.
Okay, I hear it now. I hear my original test coming through.
Really?
Yeah, we're good. All right.
Red, you gotta unmute your mic.
Damn. First off, I want to thank everyone for joining this live stream, who's listening now and who will be listening in the future. If you tuned into the live stream at the end of March, you remember Carter saying that April of 2023 is going to be one of the most impactful months for Shade Protocol's history, or within Shade Protocol's history. We had 3 of our biggest products launch within April. We had the launch of Shade Lend, Silk, Shade Swap, and then we also had the token migration to the new SNP25 token standard. And so we've seen some incredible growth within these first few weeks of these products being launched, and we'll get into some of the details of that growth that we've seen. But first, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been here with us on this journey since the beginning. It has been an incredible journey, and it feels phenomenal to finally have these products out live on mainnet. And so before we get into some of these product details, I want to pass it off to Mike to talk about, as he was pretty hands-on with the actual launching of these, with the launching and coordination of these products, just what it means to actually have these products launched after, this intense development cycle of getting these products ready to go to market, and then also what it means to see these products live and interacting synergistically. So we'll kick it off with that.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the intro. I guess first to start it off, echoing the same as Red here, I think the initial feedback from the community after launching these products has been nothing but great. All this feedback is definitely really appreciated. I know we have people that are on the team that are from the community, and we're just constantly going through the different media platforms to see what the community is thinking, any type of feedback. And, we literally just put these right into the tickets and try and fix this as soon as possible, or try and improve on what we currently have. So, if you guys have any ideas or anything like that, please provide that feedback. We are super, super receptive. But yeah, to answer, Red's question, having all these applications now launched is surreal. We started off this journey with this vision of Shade Protocol, this array of interconnected DeFi applications. And we pretty much have the main primitives that we first announced that are now live. And this is something that not only has brought, growth and demand to Secret Network, the blockchain in which Shade is built on, but we're looking to expand this into the Cosmos as a bigger public good and beyond. So I think having our foot through the door now and having the community being able to actually utilize their tokens and pretty much their finance in the Cosmos is something that is super, super exciting. Shade Swap we launched, and that's our decentralized exchange. We have a lot of crazy math that is determining the prices of these assets. And, it is honestly indisputable at this point that we are the best exchange for derivatives in the Cosmos. and likely in DeFi in general right now. So, if you don't believe me, go try it out for yourself. And I'm sure you're going to be shocked like the rest of us were. After Swap, we launched Shade Lend and Silk. To see Silk, this stablecoin that is not tied to any single monetary system, is just insane. This is something that I feel is coming at the perfect time for a lot of us, not only in DeFi in the crypto space, but also just in the world in general. So I challenge you to go check this out and really read into Silk. And then, just having all this on Secret Network in general is something that is critical to the scalability of DeFi, and that is just privacy. Secret Network, I know in the past has, had ups and downs, with in terms of engagement. And our goal right now is to just make that user experience as best as possible. And we really hope that you enjoy it. And again, if there's any feedback, please provide that, because privacy is a must in order for decentralized finance to scale. On top of that, we're iterating on our bridge products, pretty much IBC bridging, which is likely the best place in the cosmos right now, where users can go and just send assets from chain to chain, if not to Secret Network as well, into Shade. And once you use this bridge, you're bridging assets into Shade protocol on Secret Network into instant utility, right? So this is a public good that we're looking to make, larger and larger as we scale. And we're really just hoping in general that people are starting to realize the benefits of these interconnected DeFi applications, right? And what that allows, what advantages, what edges do we have now with that? So before I ramble on more, I'll stop there. Red, if you want to take it back.
Yeah, I was mainly going to say, a lot of our products are iterating on some of the best designs currently in DeFi for their respective products. And for a lot of people, I'm sure it's difficult to really see and feel that value when it's just on paper. But like Mike said, now that Shade Swap is out, now that Silk is out, you can actually go and see it and experience the power of that asymmetric concentrated liquidity, experience the power of that private by default reflexive stablecoin that Silk is. And so for anyone who has potentially had their doubts or questioned whether or not these applications have the properties and features that they said they would, highly suggest you go check out the Shade Protocol applications. I think everyone is going to be pleasantly surprised, and that is the reception that we've seen thus far. So I want to take a second to start looking at some of the individual products that we launched, particularly Shade Swap, Shade Lend, and Silk, and kind of go into some of the DeFi analytics that we've captured thus far. Now, these are by no means exhaustive. There's definitely a lot more metrics that we are capturing and plan to capture in the future and make available to the community at large. But just want to talk about some high-level details regarding some of these applications. And I'll start with Shade Swap, considering that was the first major product that was launched in April. So Shade Swap has been live for approximately 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. And since then, we've seen TVL grow to about 6.8 million, which is primarily being led by stablecoin TVL, and then also other stablecoin collateral that is being used to mint out Silk. And so we've seen almost 7 million in TVL over the first 2 weeks. We've seen approximately $10.5 million in swap volume in that time. We've seen some incredible arbitrage opportunities, users from all over the Cosmos ecosystem being able to participate, not only in arbitrage, but being able to facilitate these larger swaps of these derivatives, of stable coins, being able to swap these assets that Shade Swap is really meant to facilitate the swapping between. We're currently in the process of getting analytics information regarding the fees that are being collected by liquidity providers and making those available to everyone else. We've seen the launching of multiple partners' external incentives on ShadeSwap. Right now, we have Agoric, Comdex, and Secret Network providing external incentives. And if I'm forgetting something, someone step in. But we've got, yes, sure, geez, okay. Yeah, so we've got 4 partners providing external incentives right now. The latest of which is Secret Networks external incentives v Secret, which is effectively vested secret that can be redeemed 1-to-1 with stake secret, which is Shade Protocol's native liquid staking derivative for secret. We've got tutorials out for that, infographics out for that for anyone. So for anyone who's curious about how to earn and how to redeem these external incentives, definitely suggest you checking out the Shade Protocol YouTube and looking at the tutorials there. But one of the most impressive things to me, and I think some of the other developers, I won't necessarily speak for them, but one of the most exceptional things to see with the launch of ShadeSwap is the incredible performance of the asymmetric concentrated liquidity curve over these past 2 weeks, and especially with imbalanced pools. And so we're mostly seeing these imbalances in some of the stablecoin pools, mostly because the demand for Silk is outstripping its supply currently. So we're seeing some slight imbalances there, but this curve is still able to facilitate these ultra low slippage trades between different stablecoins, including Silk. And so it's been really encouraging to see this curve just continually chugging along, doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, even in the non-ideal or non-optimal balances for these pools. So just want to add that in there. For anyone that wants to learn anything more about the curve that ShadeSwap utilizes, highly suggest you checking out our documentation and our YouTube for any tutorials. I'll take a second there. We can kind of step away from ShadeSwap and focus on ShadeLend here for a minute. And I'm going to hand it over to Christian to kind of go over some of the details of, what we've seen as far as interactions and, Silk supply growth over the past week that Silk has been out.
So the first thing I want to start with, there is a lot of different data with Silk and Lend that we want to gather and present. And so one of the top engineering efforts this week and into next week has been creating services that aggregate the data on chain in order to present it in a more digestible way. I don't have the up-to-date numbers right now, but we have been gathering a lot of data around percentage of collateral backing and collateralization ratios and liquidation volume, liquidation profits, all those numbers. And then we're going to throw it together on a dashboard. The Silk page will have all this data eventually. So I'll leave the analytics at that and just go over broadly what's been happening with Lend and Silk and what's going to happen in the future. So our priority when it comes to Silk is, number one, the collateralization of the token itself. The top priority is making sure that there is more value backing Silk in supply at all times. And that is one of the reasons that the supply of Silk has been growing slowly. We are intentionally being cautious. As a result, we actually see that the Silk market price is slightly above peg, which if I had to choose a direction for it to be off peg, that is certainly the direction I would like to see. It means that the market wants more Silk than is currently available, which is a fairly easy problem to solve in the grand scheme of things, but we're just prioritizing risk management over just blindly increasing the minting caps. Actually, it looks like as of an hour or two ago, we have caps that have been filled again, so it might be time to raise them. But the other thing is volatility. Obviously, we're dealing with crypto assets, and while it is unlikely, seeing the price of an asset drop 30-40% over the span of a couple of hours is unlikely but non-zero. And so the LTVs on the vaults have been quite low, although we have raised them. Again, in an effort to maintain prudent risk management strategy. we're keeping those LTVs low. So the limited availability of collateral, there's only 5 tokens that we accept. The low LTVs and then the aggressive mint caps are the 3 things that are keeping the silk supply from expanding and meeting market demand at the time. So at the present time. So our strategy going forward with that is to expand our collateral offerings to have different collateral. So not just different varieties of staked Atom, but different tokens entirely. For example, ETH, and also increasing the LTVs. We still want to keep the LTVs within reasonable risk management values, which is roughly within 3 standard deviation price movements for anyone technical out there who cares. But there is space to increase the LTVs to meet market demand. So we're going to be doing that over time. Again, we're trying to be very cautious. We're trying to make sure that liquidations are still proceeding properly and giving people time to participate in liquidations, having more people participating in liquidations either by depositing into the earn pool or by building their own off-chain liquidation infrastructure, which we have documentation for. If you're curious, message me or message Red Eye Bear. We're happy to help you. But all of these things are important pieces that take time to build up that will give us more confidence in increasing the supply of silk much more aggressively to meet the market demand. So I think we're actually in a very good position, and we're just taking our time and not trying to rush into things. So in terms of the silk supply, I think we're at 1.5 million roughly right now. That might be different because we did just mint over the last 2 hours. I don't think it's been updated, but we're somewhere in that range. And certainly the concentrated liquidity on Shadeswap gives us somewhere around $3 to $4 million more in terms of cap space. So we could grow the supply of silk by another $4 million and still be at roughly a healthy peg, which is excellent to know. We have a long way to go, but we can get there, and we have every intent to take advantage of that. And the last I checked, this is a few days out of date, but I think the APR on the earn pool from liquidations only is somewhere around 9%. So that's been going up steadily. Means people are being liquidated, but if you're in the earn pool, you're earning those rewards, and it's the annualized rewards right now have since inception are roughly around 9%. And then there are additional shade rewards, and that APR will be on the page once our analytics service is up. I think I've covered the main things. We are the last thing I'll say is just a little teaser. We do have plans to add more collateral. I alluded to ETH. It's probably coming soonish. So get your hands on some ETH if you're interested. And then we have plans for other collateral, which I won't share yet until we've solidified those partnerships and done proper analysis on the collateral. But we have a good roadmap. I would say over the next 4 weeks, we're expanding the collateral offerings, introducing more uncorrelated assets into the backing to make the silk peg stronger and to give more high LTV borrowing opportunities for people who want to get their hands on some silk. And I'll pass it back to you, Red, if you want to piggyback off of that.
Yeah, I was going to say on your note about wanting silk to be at all times backed by more collateral than the value of the silk that's currently out in supply. I did a rough calculation this morning, and there's slightly over 3 million USD in collateral backing the slightly over 1.5 million USD in silk that's out there. So it's really nice to see that healthy backing there. The only other thing I'll add to some of the observations we've seen with the growth of Shadeland and silk is that currently the largest collateral backing for silk is ST Atom. And that's really encouraging to see for a few different reasons. One, we definitely want to push silk to be a decentralized stablecoin. We don't want the majority of the collateral backing of silk to be other stablecoins. And so while it is much more efficient to take USDC or USDT, deposit that in a Shadeland vault and mint out silk, you can mint out more silk for that USDC. But we've actually seen more collateral deposits for ST Atom and more silk minted against ST Atom than we have with either of the stablecoin collateral vaults that we've seen so far. And as far as the collateral backing list would go, ST Atom is the highest collateral backing, then USDC, then USDT, and then ST Osmo and Stake Secret are about the same percentage for collateral backing as well. So obviously, it seems that ST Atom is the preferred collateral of individuals looking to mint Silk, but I'm interested to see, as Christian alluded to, as asset types that are accepted for collateral to mint out Silk get expanded. I'm excited and interested personally to see how this collateral backing changes over time.
Just to jump in there.
Yeah, go for it.
There, just because I feel like this is something to point out, which is like, we're in the cosmos and clearly there's demand for Atom. So I guess, Christian, to you, maybe some people are wondering, like, why would somebody go and put up ST Atom as collateral and mint out Silk, right? So like, what are the advantages of doing that? And what are the advantages of holding Silk? I feel like this is something that people are wondering as they start to come across Shade Protocol and its applications.
I would say there are three primary reasons, two of which are universal. They will continue to be true into perpetuity, and the third one is a little bit unique over to the introductory period over the next 6 months. So the first reason is, as with all of our vaults, we intend to lean heavily on staking derivatives. What this allows you to do is if you are someone who holds Atom or Osmo or any of the other staked assets that will support as collateral, you want to continue earning that yield. So you can do that if you deposit your collateral in Lend and it's staked Atom collateral, for example, you can continue earning the full amount of yield. We don't take any performance fees or anything off of that, so you keep all of it. And then that also gives you the opportunity to borrow, in this case, Silk. So that frees up some of your money. You can do something with that ST Atom without actually giving up any of the yield. And then the next question is, of course, why would you want to borrow Silk? Silk in particular, it is specifically built as a currency pegged to a basket of global currencies and commodities with the goal of maintaining your purchasing power. So obviously with fiat currencies, through intentional monetary policy, they inflate the value of their currencies away by design. And Silk is specifically built to prevent that. So simply by holding Silk, you are protecting your purchasing power. And then there are yield opportunities for holding Silk. There is the Silk Earn Pool, which at the time of this stream, the APR is somewhere around 65–70%. That's obviously introductory. That will go down over time, but those are the introductory rates for borrowing Silk or for depositing Silk and Earn. And then there's also liquidity pools. There are very low risk ways of utilizing your Silk to provide liquidity, and the yields are on our swap page. I think they're somewhere in the range of 40–80%, depending on where you put your Silk. And then the short-term thing that is relevant, if you're interested in borrowing Silk, is that the market price of Silk, as I mentioned before, is currently above the peg. So just to use some example numbers, if the market price for Silk is $1.08 and the current peg is $1.05, on Lend, when you mint Silk, you're taking out a loan that values the Silk as $1.05. You can immediately sell it for $1.08. That's 2–3-ish% arbitrage you can capture immediately just by giving that Silk to the market. So you don't even have to do anything complex like put it into an Earn Pool or provide liquidity. You could straight up just sell it for whatever you want and you'll make 2 or 3%. That is one of the shorter term things that won't be available over time. Yeah, I will say just broadly that the reason that you would use Lend is because you have assets that you want to continue earning yield on, and you want to protect your purchasing power by taking out a loan of Silk with those assets.
Gotcha. So if I'm a user, right, in the Cosmos, and I'm super bullish on, let's say, Atom, not financial advice at all, but let's just say that, right, or any particular asset, they can go and swap that on our Shade Swap exchange for pretty much the best rates into a derivative. if not minting it out itself, right? And then you're saying by gaining that yield, holding that token and gaining that yield, you can unlock further liquidity in the form of a stable coin, which is pretty much hedged against inflation in any single monetary system. And then just by holding that, you're pretty much better off. Or you can go and get further yield on that. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I'll actually give you one more concrete strategy. I see this a lot in our Discord, actually. If you're just someone who's interested in Atom and you like Atom, one of the common things you could do is essentially leverage farm. If you deposit $1,000 of staked Atom and you borrow Silk and you use the Silk to buy more staked Atom, with a relatively low risk position, you can increase your yield by around 25%. So that's 25% more staked Atom yield, and you're already holding staked Atom. You clearly already like staked Atom, and as long as the price of Atom stays above, depending on how much you borrow, but if you do a risk position, a low risk position, as long as it's above $3, $4, $5 in that range, you're probably pretty safe. So, and you'll have plenty of time to repay your loan in the case it goes down. So that's another example of something that you can do if you're not interested in complex strategies like liquidity providing. Even if you're just straight up an Atom holder, it's totally fine to just borrow and do that.
Yeah, anything Christian, Mike have said is not financial advice, guys. Please do your research and please check these on there. There's already people working on these strategies. You can definitely ask questions in the Discord as well. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that is not financial advice. Make sure you know what you're doing, and this is definitely interesting places.
And I guess just the final point, just to point this out, is the cherry on top of all of this is that this is done privately, right? So liquidations, front running, MEV, things like that is pretty much just solved for in this solution, right? Like this is finance as it should be.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. No one can actually spy on you.
To round out some of these product details, I would just suggest if anyone is looking to see that global volatility hedging live in action, visit the app page, go to the Silk tab, and you can see the Silk peg performance over the past week. And it's really interesting because we actually got to see some extreme volatility in the past few days with Bitcoin, and you can see exactly how the Silk peg held up against that volatility in the market. So I think that's super cool. But if anyone else is interested in that, you can see the basket composition breakdown and the peg performance live on the Silk tab. So I want to take a second as we shift away from product details to kind of look at where we're at, not only as Shade Protocol, where we're at within Secret Network, but also within the Cosmos. There were a few really interesting DeFi instruments that Shade has built that were not only Secret Network first, but also Cosmos or even DeFi in general first. And, taking it all the way back to kind of the inception of when Shade Protocol officially kind of put itself out in front of the community with our airdrop, cross-chain airdrop. We had the first bonds instrument built in the Cosmos. We had our generalized IBC bridge to help facilitate this onboarding process into private DeFi. This is something that I personally underestimated the real power of having that bridge attached to our applications to help facilitate this really easy onboarding process. And to add to that, the front end team has done a phenomenal job at simplifying the DeFi experiences for all the Shade applications to a point where we can really start comparing ourselves like the ease and seamless use with other public by default applications. And so that's really cool to see, just because having these, being private by default provides these additional hurdles that is, as us as developers, we have to be able to overcome those, or not only incorporate, but overcome the general UI, UX barriers that kind of come with that. And so I just want to say a huge congratulations and mention of appreciation for the front end team that's put countless hours into making that process as smooth as possible. But I think looking at where Shade is at within the Cosmos right now, we have a few really, really interesting and unique opportunities presented in front of ourselves. The most obvious being Silk as this next generation stablecoin. There are a few really important differentiating factors with Silk. It's privacy by default, it's reflexivity, it not being pegged to a single sovereign currency. All of these things are extremely valuable. And to see those all woven together into this one product that is now live and synergistically interacting with Swap, Lend, potentially other interactions with our DeFi instruments. It helps us let us know that we're on the path that we want to be on, and we're making the progress that we want to see. However, we're definitely not done. I would argue that we just crossed the starting line, if anything. And so all I really want to note is that Silk, as this extremely unique stablecoin within Secret Network and the Cosmos, has a really bright future ahead of it, looking at adoption and some of the things that individuals who are looking to hold stablecoins, the qualities that they hope to have in these stablecoins. Silk provides these things. And so I'm really interested to see not only how the community in Cosmos looks to adopt and utilize Silk, but also how we can help Silk provide additional value to our partners, applications, to future partners that we don't even have yet. And so Silk is this really, really interesting flagship product that I'm personally, and I know the rest of the team feels this way, glad to see out in the market and live and see people interacting with it. And then kind of looking at Shade Swap as this liquid staking derivative hub for the Cosmos. We've already seen there's been some really interesting DeFi statistics out there actually about how much ST Atom is being utilized in different lending markets across the Cosmos, how much different liquid staking derivatives are being utilized on different DEXs throughout the Cosmos. And we've seen incredible growth within these first 2 weeks, and I think we're on a path to become that LSD hub that we really hope ShadeSwap becomes because of the power of this asymmetric concentrated liquidity. So it's just a quick reflection on where we're at currently and kind of what leads us into what we're looking forward into the future. And so I'll hand this off to Daltz to talk about what Shade Protocol has to look forward to in the near and medium term, and then also what the community has to look forward to in the short term as well.
Alton, your mic's not working on the live stream. Nope.
Okay. No. Check your settings. There might be there on
TLDR.
Yeah, if your audio is not working, I can kind of take the rest of this if you need me to. Okay, cool. Yeah, so looking forward, we've got some really interesting improvements to our existing products. Some of those have already been alluded to on this call. Like Christian said, we're really looking to provide some very comprehensive analytics for the applications and Silk itself. And so both the protocol and community are extremely excited to get that information out to people. And so that's something I'm personally very much looking forward to. We've got improvements to our existing bridge to look forward to. I know we've teased a little bit about some of those improvements that are coming, but with Bridge V2, we're going to see the introduction of the fee grant, which is effectively going to help individuals onboard into Secret Network DeFi without having to have any of the gas token that's generally required to bridge into Secret Network and perform a wrap transaction to wrap your assets in this privacy-preserving smart contract that is SNP 25s. So that's going to be an incredibly helpful tool to basically just help people get to where ShadeSwap and ShadeLend and Silk is. Obviously, with the additional privacy-preserving properties of secret smart contracts, there's always going to be a little bit of difference between the onboarding process into private DeFi versus into public DeFi. And our goal is to continually make that onboarding process as seamless as possible. And then two big things that people are probably most looking forward to in the near term is the launch of Shade staking and then the launch of the final airdrop. So I'm not sure if we have any statistics on the claim rate for the previous airdrops. I assume it was somewhere around 45 or 50%, potentially. So 50, okay. Yeah, so if we see that, we could see upwards of 500,000 Shade being unlocked and going into circulating supply, and so that's going to be really good for both ShadeSwap as a DEX, providing liquidity for Shade individuals who are looking to utilize their Shade. It's also going to be really nice for individuals who are looking to stake their Shade and earn passive rewards through that. So we'll have more details on the actions that are going to be required for individuals to claim their airdrop coming out soon, as well as a date for the airdrop that'll be coming out soon as well. And then kind of looking forward and touching on what Christian alluded to. Obviously, we want to be able to provide individuals and community members the Silk that they're currently demanding, and we want to make sure that we do that in a very safe and secure way. As I'm sure many of you have noted with some of the other applications that Shade has launched and some of the things that the contributing team members who have said, security is one of the top priorities for the applications that we're building. So we want to make sure that when we do increase these max LTVs, max caps for vaults, be able to provide additional asset support on ShadeSwap. We want to make sure all of this is done in a coordinated fashion so that nothing is happening that we weren't potentially foreseeing or that we could have foreseen. So wanting to make sure to do this slow and methodical is definitely the path that we're taking. And then one last thing to look forward to. I know Carter is definitely going to want to talk about this more himself in the future, but Shade Protocol community members definitely have something to look forward to with new revamped tokenomics that are going to be coming out in the near term. I don't think we've set an internal date for when those are going to be announced, but as soon as that information is ready, we'll be looking forward to sharing that with the Shade Protocol community. And I will just end my statement before opening it up to the rest of the contributors here. We as a team are incredibly receptive to community feedback. Anyone who's participated in the incentivized testnet that we've ran from mid-January to mid-March can speak to the team's receptiveness for how we can improve our user interface, how we can improve the applications, their functionality, how we can improve our communication with the community. And so for anyone that ever has any questions about the applications, the interface, the ethos behind Shade Protocol, community members and team members alike are more than happy to answer those questions. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone who has provided feedback over this past year. over this past 3 months or 4 months in 2023. It's been incredibly helpful, and it's helped us get the applications to the point they're at right now. And so if you're sitting there thinking, wow, this UI UX is really smooth, or wow, this functionality for this application is really smooth, it's most likely due to some of the feedback that community members like yourself who are listening to this provided. So I just want to say thank you, and I encourage you to continue asking questions, encourage you to provide feedback, as we're always looking to integrate that feedback into our application. So I guess before we wrap it up, Mo, Mike, Doltz, Christian, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
I will just add on one more thing with respect to community. I also want to thank all of our partners and the extended Cosmos space as well. I definitely want to thank our partners for working with Shade, and you're continuing seeing like involvement of them. I'm sure you have been watching all of our spaces that go live, and coordination on that front is also appreciated from their communities as well. Also want to obviously thank the wider Cosmos ecosystem and the development teams out there as well. So many things from S Labs as well as the IBC and the Cosmos SDK teams is coming soon as well. Like the IBC bridging V4 that's going to be coming live with the new S Labs secret network release. So thanking all the teams out there for making this, and definitely Shade and the UI UX and the application fully working and seamless in integration side as well. So yeah, just wanted to add that. And also, I guess if you guys didn't already watch Gorder's interview with Sido, like Shade X is being teased, and I'll just reference that here, but look forward to more as well that's coming as well.
Yeah, and with that, Mike.
No, you can cut me off. It's all good. Nah, I'm messing. Just iterating just one more time. Just closing statement is, as we look forward, I think you guys, the community, is going to see pretty much what has been going on in the background, not even just on the engineering side, but more on the business development side. As we start to bring on more partners, I think people, as well as partners and users alike, are going to see some of the benefits that come when you have a suite of connected applications in DeFi. So I'll just end it there without leaking any more information, but super excited to see how the community responds to this next phase. And with that, I think, Red, you're muted, but
oh boy. Okay, with that, I think we're officially ready to wrap this up. Thank you to everyone who listened to this live and will be listening to this afterwards. Your support has been incredibly appreciated, and we're excited to continue delivering. So with that, enjoy your time in the shade.